Chinky Yadav pips Rahi Sarnobat and Manu Bhakar as India sweep women's 25-meter pistol event. Aishwarya Pratap Singh Tomar wins 50-meter rifle, 3 positions. Confident India go 1-0 up in 3-match ODI series. But Shreyas Iyer and Rohit Sharma's injuries cause a concern for Men in Blue. Ahead of second ODI on Friday, both players didn't take the field in the second half of the first ODI. Belgium will aim to make a strong start to their FIFA World Cup 2022 qualifying campaign when they welcome Wales to the King Power Stadium. Belgium and Wales look to begin their Group E campaign with 3 points. Tokyo Olympic torch relay stirs mixed emotions ahead of its Fukushima start. Tokyo 2020 President Seiko Hashimoto vowed to prioritize safety for the Olympic torch relay race a day before it kicks off. Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Let's start with shooting story. Chinky Yadav won the gold medal as Indian shooters swept the medals in the women's 25-meter pistol event at the ISSF World Cup in New Delhi. Chinky Yadav outgunned the experienced Rahi Sarnobat in a shoot-off to clinch the top spot after both of them finished on 32 points each. Yadav got 4 of her 5 shots in the shoot-off, while Sarnobat missed 2 and had to settle for a silver medal. After a great come-from-behind performance, Manu Bhakar secured the bronze medal, finishing with 28 points. Right, on the other hand, Aishwarya Pratap Singh Tomar, who is Tokyo Olympics quota holder, claimed the gold medal in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions event, consolidating the India's top position in the ISSF World Cup in Delhi on Wednesday. The 20-year-old from Bhopal shot 462.5 to beat Hungary veteran Istvan Penny and Denmark's Stefan Olsen at Dr. Kearney Singh shooting range. After an impressive start, following which he led for a while, Tomar slipped in the standings but fought back strongly with a 10.4, 10.5 and 10.3 in the standing elimination stage. Of the other Indians in the final, veteran and fellow Olympic quota holder Sanjeev Rajput finished 6th, while Neeraj Kumar was 8th. Earlier in the qualification, Tomar shot 1165 to finish 5th, while Rajput had topped the charts with a score of 1172, while Neeraj Kumar backed the 8th and final qualifying spot, pipping legend Peter Siri of Hungary when he too finished with 1165. Well, moving on to cricket now, Shefali Verma, India women's opener in T20I cricket, has reasserted her dominance and moved back to the top of the ICC women's T20I player rankings after a splendid performance in the first couple of matches of the ongoing 3-match series against South Africa in Lucknow. Shefali Verma had reached pole position for the first time in her career after her magnificent performances helped India reach the knockouts of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup in Australia last year. Shefali Verma registered scores of 23 and 47 in the first 2 games of the current series to overtake Australia's Beth Mooney. And Union Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju said that India has a huge expectations from its world-beating shooting contingent in the Tokyo Olympics. His belief strengthened by the country's terrific show in the ongoing ISSF World Cup. India are heading the medals tally by some distance, having so far won 9 gold, 5 silver medals and as many bronze for a total of 19 podium finishes in the tournament at Dr. Kearney Singh shooting range.
When I came, this event was happening and we got 1, 2, 3 and this is the great feelings. And on top of that, the overall performance of this World Cup has been phenomenal for India. And it was on expected line. We had a great expectation from our shooters because we have extended all possible help throughout this pandemic period. Even during the lockdown also, we ensured that the facilities, equipment, support system, everything are constantly provided to the shooters and all the sports persons in India.
Well, I have to say that the facilities that have now increased for the shooting community has been incredible, because in the past there were so many problems about equipment and ammunition, what have you. But you, the government, and of course the private effort has been remarkable to take the sport from just a handful to now thousands.
Yes, it's a long journey for Indian shooting team. Few years back, we were just in contention for few of the events. Suddenly, India is a dominant force. So, of course, it's an incredible journey. But as I said earlier, the kind of facilities are coming up across the country, the kind of interest, enthusiasm you see amongst the players, and the government's effort to supplement with all the possible support. These are a combination of everything. And this World Cup was supposed to happen last year. At the nick of the time, the pandemic happened and we had to call it off. So I spoke to the federation people and we called off. But now, after 1 year, it's happening, and in such a wonderful condition of all the world-class facilities and arrangements being made. So this is wonderful for Indian sports. And India is not only organizing it in a befitting manner, but also performing well. So this speaks lots of things about how we are gearing up for the future also.
It was a fantastic ecosystem for shooting. Just one final thing though, with this success comes the responsibility of doing well at the Olympics. So that's something that we're all looking forward to.
Yes, I have great expectation from the shooting team. We are going to send the largest ever Olympic contingent. Even just few days back, we had many athletes from athletics also have passed on. They have qualified. And some more are going to qualify again. So we already have surpassed the previous records of highest numbers of contingent. We're going to have more. Shooting will have a maximum numbers of medal contention and a very big team. So my good wishes to all the athletes, shooters, and everybody.
Well, I have to thank you personally for doing whatever you have on behalf of the Government of India for the sport of shooting and the other sports as well. And, you know, good luck and thank you for being here today. It's been a fantastic event. And finally, of course, I'd love to have a Khelo India mask.
Oh, sure, Charu, you are such an enthusiastic person that you really create that vibe. I mean, I've seen you, you know, supporting the sporting fraternity. So it's good to be here. And I'm very happy that, you know, the team, the entire team is working together.
Right, high expectations from the Indian shooting contingent. Here you go, Sports Minister Mr. Kiren Rijiju for you. Moving on to men's cricket now, BCCI has provided injury updates for Vice Captain Rohit Sharma and middle order batsman Shreyas Iyer. Rohit Sharma got hit on the right elbow in the 4th over of India's innings in the first ODI against England in Pune. The right-hander missed a back foot punch of 148 kilometers an hour delivery by Mark Wood and got stuck on his elbow. His agony was tangible as they received extended medical attention before continuing to bat. The BCCI later announced that the opener felt some pain and will not take any further part in the match. We are talking about the first ODI. And talking about Shreyas Iyer now, he suffered a strain to his left shoulder in the 8th over of the England innings and looked to be in searing pain. He had to be supported off the field by the physio and a teammate. The BCCI has confirmed that Delhi Capitals skipper has subluxated his shoulder and has gone for scans. Like Rohit Sharma, he will also not take any further part in the game. This is what BCCI said yesterday during the first ODI. So it will be interesting to see whether Rohit Sharma and Shreyas Iyer play the second ODI that will be held on Friday. So India beat England in the first ODI, and it was like a scare for India because England chasing a huge total was going well till the 15th, 16th over, but again superb bowling by Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Prasidh Krishna, who also starred in his debut match taking 4 wickets. Although he was very expensive in his first spell in the power play, but he took the other end and then came on to bowl, and it was a superb performance by him. He took 4 wickets, and not to forget Shikhar Dhawan, who didn't do that well in the T20Is, did fantastically well although he was short of his 100, but he scored 98 in the first ODI and will look to carry on with his form in the next two ODIs. Well, India finally won the first match of a series when they vanquished England by 66 runs in the first ODI in Pune. The host will undoubtedly have a lot to take away from the convincing win. Here are the biggest three positives for India from the first ODI against England. Key players rediscovered their form. Coming into this game, India had a few selection dilemmas on their hands. And despite Rishabh Pant and Surya Kumar Yadav impressing in the recent past, the team management decided to back the under-fire Shikhar Dhawan and KL Rahul. Dhawan lost his place in the T20 side earlier this month, and Shubman Gill, who is touted by many as the future of Indian cricket, is eagerly waiting for an opportunity. But captain Virat Kohli claimed ahead of the first ODI that the Southpaw's credentials in the format can't be questioned, and he was proved right. Dhawan started off slowly but switched gears as his innings wore on to make 98 of 106 balls with 11 fours and 2 sixes. The opener's experience will be even more crucial to the side for the remainder of the series. KL Rahul was another player who returned to form for India. Batting at number 5, he used the extra time 50-over cricket provides to get his eye in. And once he did, he teed off. The 28-year-old finished on an unbeaten 62 of 43 deliveries. An innings that will do his confidence a world of good. Memorable outings for debutants. Ahead of the game, it was reported that India would hand two players their maiden ODI caps in the series opener. Krunal Pandya and Prasidh Krishna were the lucky players in question, and both of them made an immediate impact. Krunal came into bat after middle order collapse and counter-attacked to perfection, with KL Rahul playing a supporting role. He found the leg side boundary on a regular basis and took India to a pass score with more clean hitting at the death. The left-arm spinner also chipped in with the wicket of Sam Curran. Prasidh was also taken to the cleaners in the power play as he conceded 41 runs in the first 19 balls he bowled. He too made an admirable comeback, sending back Jason Roy, Ben Stokes, Sam Billings and then Tom Curran to finish with the best figures by an Indian debutant in ODIs. Similar to Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav, Prasidh and Krunal showed great application on debut. This augurs very well for India, who can bank on quality players on the bench. India showed great spirit and grit. Although India had the momentum heading into the innings break, they needed a strong bowling performance to defend 317 against a deep English batting lineup. The hosts got off to a worst possible start in the second innings, with Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow sending the ball to all the corners of the ground. England's 135-run opening partnership was broken in the 15th over, and India made regular inroads despite clearly being behind the 8th ball. Prasidh, Shardul Thakur and Bhuvneshwar Kumar combined to take 9 wickets, bowling England out for just 251 in 43rd over. Even in the first innings, India recovered well after losing Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Shikhar Dhawan and Hardik Pandya in the space of 8 overs to post the total that they did. Kohli and his men will take heart from the grit they showed in the first ODI. Sports Desk, DD India. Absolutely, like we said in the report, also fantastic performance by India to go 1-0 up in 3-match series. In the next match, the second ODI will be played on Friday. Moving on, Bhavani Devi becomes the first ever Indian fencer to qualify for the Olympics. The 27-year-old trailblazer has given fencing an identity in India and has won laurels at the international level through her hard work and determination. Our correspondent Ashok Martoria had an exclusive interaction with her. This is what she had to say.
I have with me Bhavani Devi, the first ever Indian fencer to qualify for Olympics. She will be competing in upcoming Tokyo Olympics in Sabre category. Bhavani, many congratulations. Last time you had been disappointed in Rio Olympic, but this time you have finally made it. Were you hopeful that this time you will qualify for Olympics?
Yes, thank you first of all. Thank you for coming to the airport, for welcoming me. Yes, for Rio Olympics I was very disappointed, but after that I got the right support from the government, from the sponsor, from all different kind of people. So it was very helpful to qualify for Tokyo, and I was very hopeful and I was confident after Rio that I will go to Tokyo.
How did you differently prepare for this time for the Fencing World Cup?
Yes, I competed in many tournaments. Earlier, I couldn't compete in competitions due to lack of funds. But as I said, I got the right support later on. So I competed in all competitions. I gained my points, and my coaches helped me. So that's why I could able to achieve this result.
Not many people are familiar with fencing in India. You have given identity to the fencing in India, cricket designation. So do you think that it will change the people's mindset?
Yes, definitely, because when I started fencing also, many people raised the same question, why are you doing this sport when there are many other sports where we have more results in India, but why fencing? I had no answer except the love I get from the sport, except the happiness I get from doing the sport. But I was very confident that I will do something in this sport which will help me and also the fencing, entire fencing fraternity in our country.
You have qualified through AOR method. So can you elaborate about this technical term to DD India's viewers?
So first they will qualify the team, top 4 team ranking from the world level. So after that, one from each zone, the same team, one from each zone will be qualified. So after qualifying 8 teams from the ranking list, they will take 2 athletes, 2 individuals from the top, top 2 individuals from each zone. From Asia 2, from Europe 2, from Africa is just 1, and Pan America is just 1. So from Asia, I was number 2, and I retained my position throughout the entire qualification period. So since I could maintain the second position, the first one was Japan, and second one was me. So we both qualified for Tokyo through this ranking.
You are an 8-time national champion. So what's your realistic chance in Tokyo Olympic?
Right now, I just want to give my best, and because I'm fencing, I'm going to fence in front of the whole country, in front of the whole world. So I just want to enjoy the process and give my best effort and make that as my best performance in my career, because I'm fencing in front of whole country. So I just want to do my best.
How much credit would you like to give Italian coach Nicolai Gianotti?
Yes, because when I started, when I asked him that I want to work for Tokyo Olympics and I want to train with you for a five-year period, so he at the beginning he was surprised that an Indian has come here to train for Olympics in fencing, where the Europeans, the Chinese and Americans, they all dominated in the sport. So he was surprised, but he was happy that I have taken this initiative, and he said, but with the right hard work and determination, we could definitely arrive it. We will do our best, and the result depends. We cannot predict the result. We can only able to give our best. So we worked very hard last 5 years, and the result has come.
Thank you, Bhavani, talking to DD India.
So raring to make a mark at the Olympics. Moving on to football news now. Real Madrid's Champions League quarter-final first leg at home to Liverpool will not be moved abroad. Following an easing of coronavirus restrictions, Spain imposed restrictions on flights from Britain in December over concerns of a variant of COVID-19 which affected European ties involving Chelsea and Manchester United. The policy will end on 30th March with the Reds set to face Real on 6th April. Granada can also host Manchester United in the Europa League on 8th April. Other countries imposed similar restrictions on travel from Britain, leading to Manchester City and Borussia Mönchengladbach moving both legs of their last 16 encounter to Budapest, with Liverpool and RB Leipzig doing the same for their tie. And Belgium will aim to make a strong start to their FIFA World Cup 2022 qualifying campaign when they welcome Wales to the King Power Stadium. Belgium are coming off a memorable 2020 when they lost just one of the 8 games they played all year. Belgium and Wales took to begin their Group E campaign with 3 points.
Belgium will be hoping to forget the Euro 2016 quarter-final defeat against Wales when they face the team again in a World Cup qualifying match on Wednesday. The 3-1 loss to Gareth Bale's side sent the Red Devils home from the tournament in France, but manager Roberto Martinez brushed away the memory of the defeat ahead of their clash against Wales.
International football is about the moment, it's about adjusting, it's about adapting, it's about bringing new blood, new players, facing the opposition. We are well aware that this Welsh team had a really good camp previously, but this is international football. I think the stats are just for the outside and the media and to prepare the game, but internally I don't think there is a lot of continuity or anything that can affect the game tomorrow.
Romelu Lukaku is set to play after a negative COVID test following an outbreak at his side Inter Milan and appeared for training. The participation of the 27-year-old, who is his country's record goal scorer in the matches against Wales, the Czech Republic and Belarus, was uncertain after 4 players at Inter tested positive last week. But Lukaku was negative in tests last week and again on Monday, after which he was allowed to leave Milan by the city's health authority.
First and foremost, it was important to be safe, and then from that point on, it's been a real, probably I would say routine work. I think now we're used to this sort of situation, so I don't like to speak about anything that has been out of the normal in the last year. A lot of communication, following the regulations, following the laws, and following what the local governments establish, and that's the only way that we can keep everyone safe, but we're delighted that Romelu's here.
Roberto Martinez has made quite a few alterations to the last squad he picked back in November, although only a couple of key players are missing for Belgium. These are aforementioned players are Axel Witsel, captain Eden Hazard, who continues to struggle with his persistent ankle issue.
Obviously, we played them a lot of times before in qualifications, and obviously the last one was the Euros one. That was obviously a tough one. But the ones before, it also depends in the group. I remember that we played one game, the last one, against them. We were already qualified as first, so it's less meaning. Tomorrow is a really different stage again. It's the first game in a new qualifier, so it's different scenery, totally different players, and it's just something new. It's nothing comparable that what would have happened in the past.
Belgium are coming off a memorable 2020 when they lost just one of the 8 games they played all year. That defeat to England did not stop them from topping Group B in the UEFA Nations League A, with the final set to be played later this year. As far as FIFA World Cup 2022 qualifiers are concerned, the Red Devils are the odds-on favourites to top Group E and book their place in next year's tournament. Sports Desk, DD India.
Also, Gareth Bale intends to return to Real Madrid for the final 12 months of his contract next season. Bale has been at Tottenham Hotspur on loan this season, initially struggling with fitness but playing regularly in recent weeks, but said ahead of the start of the World Cup qualification with Wales this week that he plans to head back to Spain next season. Bale is set to skipper Wales at the European Championship in June. Bale has scored 10 goals in all competitions for Spurs this season as they sit 6th in the Premier League. But surprise elimination from the Europa League in Croatia last week sparked a sudden round of speculation about the future of manager Jose Mourinho. Getting away on international duty with Wales, said Bale, came at just the right time.
No, it's no distraction for me coming into the Euros. I think the main reason I obviously came to Spurs this year was obviously I wanted to play football first and foremost, but going into Euros I wanted to be match fit. So yeah, the original plan was only to do a season at Spurs, and then yeah, after the Euros I still have a year left at Real Madrid, and yeah, as far my plan obviously is to go back, and yeah, that's as far as I've planned, to be honest. Yeah, I always think when things aren't going too well at the club, it's nice to get away and especially mentally get away from the club environment. So yeah, definitely it can be a benefit. So yeah, the first thing we have to do now is focus on these couple of games for Wales, which is very important for us, and yeah, then we forget club life and concentrate on this. Yeah, definitely. It's obviously probably the last few years is the most match fitness I've had. So yeah, obviously feeling fresh and ready to go.
So Tokyo 2020 President Seiko Hashimoto vowed to prioritize safety for the Olympic torch relay race a day before it kicks off from Fukushima in northeastern Japan. On Thursday, the relay will kick off a countdown to the Games in Tokyo, the first ever organized during a deadly pandemic. The torch that will be used in the relay was also displayed in the news conference before being delivered for the event. The 4-month event has been hit by several high-profile runner cancellations as celebrities have pulled out, citing late notice and worries about drawing crowds during the pandemic. The torch relay is 121 days long. Well, that's all we have in Sports Buzz. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.